Okay, go ahead and get your notes titled and dated. So we're going to be working with distributive property. This first part of distributive property should be a review for you from last year in 7th grade. So I'm just going to start off with reviewing basic distributive property problems. So when you distribute, you're going to take the number on the outside of the parentheses and you're going to multiply it times both parts on the inside of the parentheses. So you're going to take 5 times 1x, and you're going to take 5 times, and that's a negative 6, to simplify this problem. So 5 times 1x is 5x, and 5 times negative 6 is negative 30. So this problem, simplified, is 5x minus 30. I'm going to put another one up over here. It's important to remember that whatever number and the sign on the outside of the parentheses is what's going to get distributed to the inside. So this is a negative 6, so that negative has to go with the 6 when you distribute. So we take negative 6 times 2x, and we take negative 6 times a negative 4. So negative 6 times 2x is negative 12x, and negative 6 times negative 4 is positive 24. So this is that distributive property problem simplified. Distributive property should be a review from last year. Now we're going to put the distributive property within equations. So last week we had some steps when walking through equations. So step 1 is now going to be to distribute first. So step 1 is always going to be to distribute if there is a set of parentheses in your math problem. So we have negative 108 equals 4 times the value of 1 minus 4n. So we draw a line down our fence. First step is to distribute. So I'm going to take the number on the outside and I'm going to multiply it times both parts on the inside. So I have 4 times 1. And I have 4 times negative 4n. Just a reminder that if I'm going too fast for you, you can always pause the video and slow down to catch up with your writing. So 4 times 1 is 4, and 4 times negative 4n is negative 16n. I'm going to bring down this negative 108 because I haven't used it yet. Now, if we had anything to combine, like terms on the same side, we would do that next. But in this math problem, there's nothing to combine, so I'm going to keep going through the steps. Step 3 is going to be to move one set of variables to the other side. In this math problem, we only have variables on one side, so we're going to skip step 3 also. Step 4 is going to be to solve our 2-step equation, which is what we have right now. So we're going to solve this problem. So we're going to subtract the 4 to the other side to get negative 112. We still have a negative 16n. We're going to divide both sides by negative 16 to get n equals 7. This type of problem should also be a review from last year, because all we did was distribute and then solve a two-step equation. Make sure you have these steps written down, because this is the order you're going to complete any of these math problems for this section. Let's do another one. All right, once you have this written down, then we're ready to get started. So step 1 is to distribute. So I'm going to take the number on the outside and multiply it by both terms on the inside. So I take 5 times 1, and I take 5 times negative 5a. So I get 5 minus 25a. There's nothing to combine, so I'm skipping step 2. We don't have variables on both sides, so I'm skipping step 3. So I'm moving down here to step 4, where I'm going to solve the two-step equation. First number I'm going to move is that positive 5 by subtracting it to the other side. I get negative 125. This is still a negative 25a. Divide both sides by negative 25 to get a equals 5. Again, these last two problems and the distributive property should all be a review from your 7th grade year. Now we're going to throw in another step into the problem. Okay, so step 1 is still going to be to distribute. You have to be careful, because the number that is on the outside of the parentheses is a negative 6. So you have to make sure that you include that sign that's in front of that number whenever you distribute. So I'm going to take negative 6 times negative 7n and negative 6 times 8. So I'm going to bring down this 7 because I haven't used it yet. Negative 6 times negative 7n is a positive 42n. And negative 6 times 8 is a negative 48. So I've completed step 1. So now I'm going to move to step 2, which is to combine like terms on the same side. So over here on the left-hand side, we can combine the 7 and the negative 48 because they are both integers. So 7 minus 48 is negative 41. There isn't variables on both sides, so I'm going to skip step 3 and move back down here to step 4, which is to solve my two-step equation. I'm going to add the 41 to the other side. I get 42 in equals 294. I'm going to divide both sides by 42 to get n equals 7. So the only other step that I added into this problem is to combine like terms on the same side of the equal sign. Remember, if I'm ever going too fast, you can always pause the video and rewind and rewatch it. But you should be taking notes and doing these problems with me, just like if you were in class. I'm going to do one more just like that so that you know how to do steps 1 and 2 and 4 within a problem. Alright, so step 1 is to distribute. So I'm going to distribute this positive 8 to both numbers on the inside. So I'm taking 8 times 1 and 8 times 6x. I'm going to bring down this 2x because I haven't used it yet. Then we would combine our like terms. So we get 8 plus 50x equals negative 84. Then I'm going to subtract the 8 to get 50x equals negative 92. Divide by 50. Now I'm going to get a decimal on this one, and that's okay. So we get x equals negative 1.84. And that is the first part of distributive property within equations. On the next video, I'll add in step 3 to where we are doing all of these steps within one problem.